saying is that he's for the ethnic cleansing of 120,000 Armenians from a place they have lived for thousands of years. When he says, who does not want to become our citizen, these are proud citizens of the Republic of Artsakh. They don't want to become citizens of Azerbaijan. And his response is to try to ethnically cleanse them. I'll tell you now, the Armenians of Artsakh aren't going anywhere. They've been there for 3,000 years, and they're going to be there for thousands of years to come. I want to join with my colleague Adam Schiff in calling on our government to do more. One of those things is a UN resolution, which, as pointed out, we are now president of the Security Council. Another is Magnitsky sanctions on Azeri leaders. A third, and this should be a no-brainer, is to enforce Section 907 of our laws and to say not one penny of our money is going to an oil-rich regime bent on ethnic cleansing. Do you think we have some needs here in Los Angeles that make that the worst possible use of your taxpayer money? And finally, just to paint a picture, there are dozens and dozens of trucks being stopped. Some are from the Armenian government. Some are from the International Red Cross. And tomorrow I'll be on the phone with Samantha Powers, who heads USAID, our foreign aid agency, to say at least there should be some American trucks in that line. Let's see whether Aliyev wants to blockade American trucks peacefully, containing nothing but food and medicine on their way to hungry people. I'm so proud to be here with some of my fellow elected officials, former Assembly Member Adrien Nazarian. I believe that Heather Hunt is back there. Oh, and there she is, Councilwoman Heather Hunt. I see Paul Kokorian. And I was just talking to Heather about how, well, right now we're at the intersection of Granville and Wilshire. Those are nice names, but it's time that the council pass Paul's resolution to rename this area Artsakh Square. We did. You already passed it.
The signs are being printed.
Damn, we need to put them up now. And I know you did it with Heather's support.
Indeed.
Yes. So this is a painful moment for the Armenian American community, and frankly, it's a painful moment for Americans. 120,000 people who survived for thousands of years, who outlived the Armenian genocide, the first genocide of this century, now face ethnic cleansing, hunger, and destruction. It's time for America to be on the right side of history. That starts at the UN, it starts with USAID, and it should be followed up with sanctions and, of course, an end to all aid to Azerbaijan. I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank especially the Pan American Council, and thank you very much.
Home away from home, the jewel city of Glendale's Mayor Dan Brothman, please.
Good afternoon. So many eloquent things have been said, and I will try to keep these comments short. As the mayor of the city of Glendale, I represent the single largest concentration of Armenian immigrants and their descendants in the United States. Many of my constituents have friends and family members directly affected by the blockade of Artsakh. I stand here in solidarity with them, with the people of Armenia, and with 120,000 innocent civilians in Artsakh to call on President Biden and the U.S. State Department to do whatever it takes to prevent a new Armenian genocide at the hands of the Aliyev regime. This includes a number of things that you have heard but are worth repeating. Introducing and facilitating the passage of a UN Security Council resolution requiring Azerbaijan to adhere to the February 22nd, 2023 preliminary measure of the International Court of Justice, ordering Azerbaijan to open the Lachen corridor. This includes immediately halting any and all military assistance to Azerbaijan. This includes imposing sanctions on members of the Aliyev regime under the Magnitsky Act for ongoing war crimes and crimes against humanity. This includes delivering humanitarian assistance to Artsakh through the Lachen corridor at the scale needed to address the unfolding humanitarian catastrophe. And this includes introducing a UN Security Council resolution establishing a UN peacekeeping mission to Artsakh in order to ensure the long-term physical security of the population. We have a moral responsibility to the 30,000 children, 20,000 elderly, and nearly 10,000 people with disabilities, and to the entire community suffering from this criminal blockade, now in effect for nearly 8 months. We cannot wait. We must not make excuses. If we do, we will be responsible for a humanitarian disaster of unspeakable proportions. Thank you.
Please welcome former mayor of the city of Glendale, current council member Artie Kasachka.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all our friends and our allies and supporters, amazing leaders like Congressman Adam Schiff, Congressman Brad Sherman, who have spoken out on this issue from the very beginning and who will continue to stand by our side, along with my colleague, Mayor Dan Brotman, Council President Paul Kerkorian, and all our other dignitaries. I want to speak to you today not necessarily as an Armenian or Armenian American, but plainly as an American citizen. As Americans, we've been raised to believe that are certain inalienable rights granted to us by God, among which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the right to self-determination is what allows us to exercise those rights. And I, as an American taxpayer, like many Armenian Americans living in Glendale and all over this country, are very disappointed. We are losing faith in our country's leadership because our leaders in Washington, our leaders in the State Department, in the White House, are selective in which individuals on this planet to support who are seeking to protect their right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that Armenians living on their indigenous homelands are being denied that right, and no one in top offices in our nation's capital, besides our friends, are speaking about it. I will say this, that those who remain silent in the face of the forced starvation and elimination of the Armenian people will one day face God's judgment. But before they face God's judgment, they will face my community's judgment at polls on election day. Yes, sir. We must make sure to hold those who stand shoulder to shoulder with a dictatorial regime like Azerbaijan accountable for their moral crimes, for being complicit in the elimination of the Armenian nation from Artsakh. I speak to folks in Stepanakert when I can. And just a few nights ago, I was speaking to someone who again impressed upon me the dire situation that they are facing. Everything that you've heard here today, this afternoon, is absolutely true. The situation is going from bad to worse. And I will say this, these people are fighting for their survival. And in any struggle and in any war, people need to have the support, to have the spirit to go on. Many of us, including myself, ask myself, what else can we do? What can we do besides physically actually going there? We can pass resolutions, we can give speeches, but what else can we do? And the answer is to show our support. When they interview people who have gone through war, When they talk to soldiers, they say the ones who crack first are the ones who feel that there's no one at home standing behind them. The young men and women of Artsakh, the children, the elderly, those who are going through much more difficulty than any of us can imagine, need to know that we as Americans and we in the diaspora stand shoulder to shoulder with them. So I want to thank those individuals who are here today who've organized this. I want to thank those individuals who before this press conference made this holy ground of a battle for the rights of survival. Keep doing what you're doing. Do not stop, because when the folks in Artsakh begin to lose hope, they will draw fresh inspiration from your actions. Thank you. God bless you all. And I hope that our leaders will stand shoulder to shoulder with us in ending all aid to Azerbaijan and bringing the dictatorial regime of Aliyev to an end. Thank you.
I want to recognize Los Angeles City Council member Tracy Park, who just joined us. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Council member. And last but not least, the second largest city in the United States, the City of Angels, Los Angeles City Council President, the one and only Paul Krikorian, please.
Thank you so much, Gato. And let me just say how proud I am to stand here with the combined leadership of the most important Armenian diaspora on earth as we stand up here and demand the human rights of Artsakh be protected. And let me say how proud I am to stand with the great allies that we have of our community. Great leaders, elected leaders like our representatives in Congress, Congressman Adam Schiff and Congressman Brad Sherman, and the representatives in our city council, Councilmember Heather Hutt, Councilmember Tracy Park, who represents this very district where we're standing, as well as all of the other members of the Los Angeles City Council who, to a person, stand in solidarity with the people of Artsakh and stood with us at every single time when we've demanded recognition of Artsakh, its independence, its sovereignty, and the human rights of the people who live there. I'm proud to stand with these friends and with our brothers and sisters. But I have to say, on a day like today, I also feel great shame. I feel, as an elected leader in the United States of America, I feel great shame that the government of the United States of America has not rallied to our cause. The government of the United States of America has not listened to the clarion calls of leaders like Adam Schiff and Brad Sherman. I've personally spoken with leaders of the State Department, leaders of USAID, and tried to emphasize to them how urgent this situation is, how vitally important it is that we act not tomorrow, but today. And that call has fallen on deaf ears. Mayor Bass and I personally came together and wrote to the President of the United States, Secretary Blinken, again demanding, pleading for help for the people of Artsakh, and that plea has fallen on deaf ears. And as an American, that causes me immense pain, because having been to Artsakh, having embraced the people of Artsakh, having established the friendship relationship between this great city and Shushi, and having seen the Los Angeles Shushi Friendship Park in the center of Shushi being destroyed by Azeri cluster bombs, and to see my government standing silently causes me immense pain. You don't need to know anything about Artsakh except this. This is a courageous and heroic people living on their indigenous historic lands who stood up bravely against the Soviet Union and demanded their independence, demanded their freedom, demanded their sovereignty. They These people, by doing that, helped to lead to the end of the Cold War and the dissolution of the Soviet Union. That should be reason enough for the world to care about what happens to the people of Artsakh. But if that weren't enough, they committed themselves to a democratic form of government. They stood up against a more powerful oppressor, one of the most powerful oppressors in the world. And just like the founders of our country, they demanded their independence, they put their lives at risk to have it, and they won it. And just like our founders, we should celebrate that victory as people who love democracy and care about freedom and want to put an end to oppression by tyrants. That's reason enough to come to the aid of the people of Artsakh. And if those reasons were not enough, let's be very clear on this, and let's not equivocate, and let's not use any kind of words that allow any lack of clarity. As we stand here right now, the bloody dictator of Azerbaijan, represented by the full-time propagandists who work in this building, that bloody dictator is committing genocide today. Not tomorrow, today. We're not on the precipice of genocide. We are observing genocide as it occurs. If there was any doubt about that, the prosecutor for the International Criminal Court, Luis Ocampo, put that doubt to rest with his exceptional report laying bare the lies that Aliyev has been trying to tell the world. Folks, genocide is occurring today and the world is slumbering. The world is turning over and averting its gaze as the people of Artsakh are dying from our inaction. And if we haven't learned from history yet the lessons of inaction, the lessons of apathy, then we are destined to continue to make the same mistakes. So right now, the United States of America is doing everything that it can to support the brave people of Ukraine, who declared their independence from the Soviet Union as well, just like the people of Artsakh did, who are standing up against a more powerful enemy, just like the people of Artsakh are, who are facing destruction at the hands of those enemies, just like the people of Artsakh are. And yet our government picks and chooses, apparently, who matters in this world. Well, we can't do that and expect to continue to be a leader in the world. We can't continue to claim to be a lighthouse of freedom and democracy, an inspiration to the rest of the world, if we as a government turn a blind eye to these suffering, heroic people. And Artie Kasakian is right. The people in Stepanakert right now, the people in villages throughout Artsakh right now, hear what we are saying. And they know that we stand with them. And they draw support and strength from that. And that's important. And I'm so glad that we'll be declaring this intersection, or we have declared this intersection Artsakh Square, thanks to Councilmember Park's resolution. We will be putting those signs up shortly, and that's important, and people hear those things. But more important than hearing our support is seeing our action. And our action will come when the United States government comes to the aid of the people of Artsakh, stops supporting this bloody dictator, stops subsidizing genocide as it's occurring. That's up to our government, and only we as Americans can force our government to act. I intend to continue to do that. I know you intend to continue to do that. Let's not rest until we see the United States finally, once and for all, be true to its creed, be true to its founding documents, and show the world that we really do care about democracy and freedom, and we really will stand up to stop oppression and war crimes and tyranny in all of its forms, and that starts in Artsakh right now today. Thank you all very much.
On behalf of the Pan-Armenian Council of Western United States, I want to thank our elected officials, Congressman Adam Schiff, Congressman Brad Sherman, Mayor Dan Rothman, Council Member Artie Kasakian, and Los Angeles City Council President Paul Krikorian for their remarks. I would like to thank, on behalf of PAC, all of the other elected officials who are here in support of us and our people's just cause here at Artsakh Square. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being here. I want to thank our clergy for standing in the scorching sun for what appears to be about an hour now. I know the Archbishop mentioned that our ancestors, his ancestors, walked in the deserts of Deir Zor, the Syrian desert, and many fell and died a horrible death. So what's an hour in the warm California sun? For the members of the press, I know some of you may have questions, but I will not ask, nor will I seek to make any person behind me to stand in the sun. I'm sure many of them will be here for you to approach them and ask questions if you have any. Finally, I would like to thank all member organizations of the Pan-Armenian Council, as well as all Armenian member organizations, groups, youth, and otherwise, who do what they do day in and day out. We have work to do. Our work will continue. It will start with the hunger strike at 7 p.m., some 1 hour and 6 minutes from now, but it will not end at 7 p.m. tomorrow. It will continue. Our work will not stop until our people of Artsakh are not barricaded, are not starved, and are not held hostage to a tyrant in Baku. Thank you all for being here. See you in the trenches. Thank you very much.